Hello, and I hope that you all are having a fantastic day. I have been playing around with background filters and decided that I like this one for today, but who knows what I'll decide in the future. There's also a really cute little television set, so I might have to use that. I hope everybody at home is doing great. Yesterday, I posted a survey in Teams. If you didn't get a chance to take that survey, please take that from me. Excuse me. Take that from me. I am interested to know if you enjoy better having live instruction so that where you join in a Zoom, it gives you opportunity to ask questions and participate with the rest of the class, or if you prefer the video instruction that I provide for you guys. So it kind of is a majority rules on this, but I'm looking for your feedback. So if you haven't had a chance to respond to that, please do. You can find that in Teams assigned yesterday, February 10th. All right, so today we are delving a little deeper into the podcast project, and I wanted to walk you through that assignment. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Taking a look at our PowerPoint where it says day 2. So go ahead and pull up that PowerPoint from yesterday, which is going to say day 2. And we're just going to kind of walk through. I'm going to encourage you to pause at moments to do the thought work that you need to do. So what we're working on is we are going to design our own tiny podcast, 3 to 5 minutes long. That's all. That is based on either the forgiveness project or a little bit happier. So the first thing that I want you to kind of consider after listening to a little bit happier and after kind of delving into those stories of forgiveness that we explored, what kind of inspires you? What do you think that you want to explore? And so the PowerPoint, remember I asked you to download this so that you can type in your ideas. Before we delve into Form 1, this is not on your PowerPoint. This is something that I added today. Your goal overall is to create a 3 to 5 minute podcast. And we're going to do some thought work, some planning work to help us prepared. So to begin with, I want for you guys to think, what is a theme that's either centered on forgiveness or an idea about how to make your life a little bit happier? You've got some options. You could do a research-based show. So this is a show where your 3 to 5 minutes is based on some research you've conducted about how to be happier or about the benefits, or if you even want to explore the idea of forgiveness. So maybe some risks that are involved in forgiveness, or maybe some research about how can I offer someone forgiveness. Or a storytelling show. So that's kind of more of like the TED Talk or a story from the Forgiveness Project. So I want for you to take a second to kind of consider that, because when you look at your first form, it explains that some podcasts are extremely short, like a little happier that we listen to. This can allow podcasters to broadcast a quick idea or a bit of inspiration to listeners more often, and also make it easier for listeners to pack it into their busy days. So we're making our ideas. We're coming up with all of the thought work that we need to do to create our own tiny project, our own tiny podcast. So if you had to offer something in 2 to 3 minutes every day, what would you share? So for this project, you're going to come up with a theme and plan the first 5 episodes, the podcast description and cover art, and then you're going to record 1 episode. And that's what we're working on. So the first thing that you have to think about is a title. You want something that's engaging, that's catchy, some ideas, etc. And then you want to think about your show format. So do you want to do that research format, or are you interested in storytelling? So podcast players, you've got like iTunes, you've got Spotify, you've got SoundCloud, you have Amazon Podcasts, et cetera. There's tons of different avenues that you would explore. And so one thing that you'll notice is on that show description. So if you want to go look at a couple of examples, like if we pull up, if we go take a look at Apple Podcasts, let's take a look at this together. So all of these different podcasts are going to come up, and you're going to see that they've got their own cover art that is going to try to, first of all, grab your attention, right? So I'm going to take a look at this one. And because I think that I'm curious about the title, Curious Questions. And then you get this first example. So join legendary NFL running back Ricky Williams as he discusses astrology, sports, and the benefits of medical marijuana with a special guest every week. So that's one example. Here's another. It's called Through the Cracks. When 8-year-old Relisha Rudd disappeared from a homeless shelter in Washington, D.C., in 2014, nobody noticed. By the time authorities formally declared her missing, 18 days had passed since she'd been spotted at school or the shelter where her family lived. 7 years later, Relisha has never been found. Through the Cracks investigates gaps in our society and the people who fall through them. And the first season host, Jonquil Hill, asked if Relisha's disappearance was, as the city later claimed, unpreventable. That sounds really intriguing. I'm curious about that one. Let's take a look at a few more examples. Oh, the food that built America. So it takes bold visionaries risking everything to create some of the most recognizable brands on the planet. The Food That Built America, based on the hit documentary series from the History Channel, tells the extraordinary true stories of industry titans like Henry Heinz, Milton Hershey, and the Kellogg brothers. So that sounds really interesting as well. So we can go around and look and see different examples of different podcasts. The Stoop, for example, really great cover art right there, digs into stories that are not always shared out in the open. Hosts Lila Day and Hannah Baba start conversations and provide professionally reported stories about what it means to be Black and how we talk about Blackness. Come hang out on the Stoop as we dialogue about the diaspora. So inspiration-wise, you could look at a few more of these to kind of see first of all, the podcast image and see the examples that we have there. So that kind of goes right here, description of the show for podcast players. Then thinking about, okay, what maybe could my cover image look like for a podcast player? So maybe you have an idea, maybe you want to give me an idea of inspiration right there that you have. Then you want to think about topics for the first 5 episodes. So if you're going to deal with something about happiness and how to live a happier life, then what are going to be your first 5 topics? Are you going to talk about, a happy life is having your room organized, or a happy life is, about journaling and meditation? What are some things that you think would make you happy? Maybe it would make you happy to have really good music that you listen to. And so your first 5 episodes are going to look at a different artist or a different song that maybe inspires you to be happy. Okay. So topics for the first 5 episodes. And then I want you to kind of think about music that would accompany the show. I'm going to share a resource with you that I actually use when I'm putting together the Bulldog News Network. It's called Mixit, M-I-X-I-T. Mixkit, sorry, M-I-X-K-I-T. And it has ideas for video projects, but it also has music. And so you can kind of take a look at some different music. You can search up by mood. So like if you're looking for something that's uplifting, and then, kind of take a look here at sample different songs. That one's not really the vibe of my podcast, kind of look around here. Maybe this one is, so you can have some fun with that. And then you can actually download for free. You don't have to do anything. You can download those music for free that you could actually use in your tiny podcast. And I'll put that link, make myself a note really quick to put that Mixkit link so you guys have that. Okay. So what kind of music do you think would accompany the show? So if you want to pick a song that you think would go with it, then go ahead and pick that song. Or, maybe you're like, I want it to have kind of a hip hop vibe or something like that. And then I want you to think about what kind of brands would you reach out for sponsors? So podcasts have sponsors, as you guys probably got tired of hearing for the commercials about Hyundai, for a little happier. that was their sponsor. So so think about who would be the best sponsor for your podcast. Now I want for you to look back to that list of 1 through 5, and I want for you to pick one of those episodes to run with. And I want you to brainstorm some ideas of what to include. And I want to see 5 to 10 brainstormed ideas. So 5 to 10 ideas that you would like to continue to think about when you're putting together this first episode, because you'll probably land on 1 or 2 of those ideas that you'll explore. So I want you to go ahead and pause your video, and I want you to spend some time filling out this sheet for me, okay? So we're going to pause the video, and you are going to fill out that sheet, and then come back to the sheet when you're done. Come back to the video when you're done. All right, now the next step is to plan the flow and script or the interview questions if you're planning on interviewing someone. So this is something that if you want to have somebody else tell a story. Maybe you want to ask your mom about a time that she found forgiveness or forgave someone. Or maybe you want to kind of explore an idea from a loved one or a family member about what makes them happy. So maybe you want to put the focus on somebody else. You could totally do that. So most shows follow a similar format. They start with an introduction of the topic for the day. So starting with an introduction that you're like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Then a short intro into the show's overall and a bit of music plays. Then comes the main show. Then there's some kind of wrap up. Okay, so we're going to plan these stages: an introduction, a short intro of the show, and a little bit of music. Then we've got the main show. Then there's some kind of wrap up. Okay, so we're going to break that down. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start with an introduction. So this quick intro will determine whether listeners stick around for the show or try to make an inviting preview of the best of what's to come. And then now I want you to kind of think a little more about that music. Maybe go back to Mixkit and kind of explore. Many podcasters record some kind of short introduction to their show that they play every week, combining a few introductory words about themselves with some music. This often starts with something along with ideas of, hi, my name is blank, or welcome to the blank podcast where we, okay. So I want for you to work on developing that short podcast intro, and then take a look at some music options. So I do have a link here that's for YouTube. You also could, if you know somebody who makes music, or maybe you're a musician, you could create some original music, and then also kind of explore that Mixkit, which is linked on the Teams page for today. So let's take a little time with this sheet, press pause, fill out the below, and then come back to me after you've had a chance to develop some ideas. All right, guys, we've had a chance to kind of brainstorm some ideas about the scripting of our show. So now we're going to work through our main content. Okay. So some podcasters like to read from an exact script that they're going to deliver to their audience. And other people just like to kind of chat to their audience based on some bullet points that they have in front of them. If you have an interview show, you want to try to have your questions prepared in advance. And generally, you should give them to your guests several days in advance so they can prepare. So if you're planning on interviewing someone in class, or if you're planning to interview a friend, family member, etc., you want to give them enough time to process your information. So you want to go ahead and send them your interview questions today, okay? So here, if you're writing your bullet points or questions, I want you to use this space. If you're going to write a full script, go ahead and do that on a new page so that you have space to type that full script in, and then you can send that script to me. And now you want to write, after you get done with that, we want to go ahead and do a quick closer. This usually thanks listeners for listening and invites them to connect in some way through social media or by writing a review on one of those podcast natures or one of those podcast delivery systems. So go ahead and press pause and work on your bullet points or questions or your full script, and then your idea for a closer. And really the best way to kind of get a model for this is to listen to some of those podcasts. Listen to the beginning, listen to the end, listen to a little bit of the middle so that you kind of get a view of how it is that these podcasts look and sound and hear. So go ahead and press pause and work on this sheet. All right, we're getting to the fun part. So I want to kind of go over with you. You might be ready to record today. And if you're ready to record today, then I want to go ahead and walk you through some options of what you can do. One is that you can just use your cell phone. So if you have a voice memo or a voice recorder, or if you have iPhones, then I do recommend GarageBand. Pull mine up. So GarageBand is a really great, easy to use tool. I'm also going to give you another option that you can use on online called Vocaroo. But I really like kind of mixing it all together on a mixing platform where I can add in the music and I can add in those other elements really easily. So GarageBand is really great for that. Audacity is also a really great tool if you want to get really, special with it. You're going to have until next Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on if you're an even or odd student, to complete this task for me. So you have time to work on this. I really want for you to spend some time. This is in replacement for writing a standard essay. So I really want you to put a lot of energy and effort into making this good. And so I'm building a lot of time for you to do that, okay? So before you get ready to record, you're going to put all of your work in front of you. And I printed everything out so that I had it right in front of me. And if you have a printer, that's a really great tool. And you can just send me pictures of your work that you've used. So pull everything in front of you. You want to have all of your written pieces ready, and then you want to have your music ready to play if you're going to play some music in the background. And so I recommend the first things first is to go through a practice run and maybe 2 or 3 practice runs. And this is a place where voice notes or voice memos can be really helpful on your phone, because you can record yourself and kind of hear how it is that you're sounding, how things are coming together. So then you're going to get ready to record. There's lots of platforms that you can use. So I mentioned GarageBand, I mentioned Audacity. Another is called Anchor FM. So if you want to dive into one of these larger platforms and you want to have some fun with it, go for it. Okay. But for ease and simplicity for your first episode, I do recommend the website vocaroo.com, which is a simple voice recording tool online, and you can just use it right with your laptops right at home. But again, you can use one of these other formats for sure. You can even use PowerPoint and use the recording function to record it right in there. So whatever makes you happy, whatever works the best for you. So once you hit record in Vocaroo, simply go through your podcast intro, script or bullet points, music, if you have music, and then you're closing. It might take you a few tries to get you how you want it. If you're using a more complex program, you could go in and make edits as you mix your final show. So don't worry about the occasional pause or tiny mistakes. So let's take a look at Vocaroo just so that you can see it. So it's simple, right? All you do is you press record. So all I do is press record. Hi, this is Mrs. Cummings, and I am coming at you with our brand new podcast, Forgiving Even If It Hurts. So I've recorded that, and now I can play it back if I want to when I get done. And then it's simple, really, really simple to use. So after you get done with it, you upload your audio file, and it uploads it to your computer. Or I'm sorry, you can upload an audio file. And let's record. Hi there, this is Mrs. Cummings coming at you with our brand new podcast, Forgiveness, Even If It Hurts. So simple, easy to use. process here. You can upload things to it. You can add to it. It's simple and it's easy to use. So I do like Vocaroo because it is so easy to use. And that it's after you get done, you just press that button and then you hit save or share. There are some options on here, like where you can remove audio with background noise. You can adjust the audio volume. And then when you save it and you share it, it downloads it and it gives you a link. So you can just send that link right to me, okay? The only problem with Vocaroo is that you can't really you have to get to this point to be able to listen to it. And so like if you want to download and listen to what you just did. Hi there, this is Mrs. Cummings coming at you with our brand new podcast, Forgiveness, Even If It Hurts. So I might use, if I'm using Vocaroo, then I might use a combination of things. Like I might have my Vocaroo pulled up and then have my music that I'm planning to use on my cell phone, something like that, or uploading that music into the content. So that's how that works. Simple, easy to use, right? So I want for you to kind of practice some ideas about recording. When we come back to class on Tuesday, I'm going to have you guys begin. You're going to do your cover art and we're going to have some time to design our cover art. And then you're going to need to upload your actual music. And then if you want to take a look, let's look at the podcast rubric. So I have a C level grade, I have a B level grade, and I have an A level grade. Podcast elements, the cover image, the show description, the podcast script preparation, and then your final podcast. And you can kind of see how it's broken out. So if you follow all the instructions in my worksheet, you're going to be fine. You're going to do great. Okay. And I want for you to have fun with this, but I want for you to put some good effort into it because again, this is in replacement for an essay. Now the in-person students have asked, are you going to play this? Are you going to make us listen to it? So I'm going to listen to all the podcasts and I'm very excited about listening to them. I'm going to leave it up to you. If there's one that I really enjoy, I'm going to ask students if they mind, let me share it because I feel like your hard work should be shared and that you should have people enjoy your podcast, but I'll ask your permission before I share anything. Okay, as always, if you have questions about any of the work, please send me an email. I am here to help and I cannot wait to see your podcast ideas. This podcast worksheets, these worksheets that you're filling out for me today are due by Sunday at 11:59. Thanks. Bye, guys.